Hi guys. So what I'm doing today is, well, for this particular video is the Are You Ready for chapter 13. It is on page 398. So let's just go through it pretty quickly. Number 1, 11 squared. Do you remember what it means when something is squared? We are literally multiplying the thing by itself. So 11 times 11, which is 121. Number 2, 2 to the 5th power. We are literally multiplying the number 2 5 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So when we want to plug that into the calculator, just a sec. We do it this way. We do the 2, and then we have a caret, which is, I guess this one uses the x to the 5th power, and it is equal to 32. So in this particular one, it has x to the blank. That's the square that you put in. Most of them have a caret. So the way that you plug it in on mine is 2x to the blank. So that's a key, 5. The way you put it in on ones that I'm more used to is 2, the caret block, whoops, 5. Okay? So that's what we're doing for these. That's how you put it into your calculator. Number 3. 1/5 to the 3rd. So it's 1 to the 3rd over 5 to the 3rd. 1 to the 3rd is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And 5 to the 3rd is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Number 4, 0.3 to the 2nd. So you end up with 3/10 times 3/10, which gives you 0.09. So 9/100, because 3 times 3 is 9. 2 decimal points, you move it over twice, so you end up with 9/100. Number 5 is 2.1 to the 3rd. So 2 and 1/10 to the 3rd, which gives me 9 and 261 thousandths. Number 6 is 1/10 to the 3rd, so that'll be a 1, but then 3 times over for 1,000th. Number 7, 9 and 6/10 thirds to squared. So we square the top and we square the bottom. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 9.6 squared is 92 and 1600ths. And 8 is 100 to the 3rd. So that's 100 times 100 times 100, which is a little weird. We end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. 6 zeros. So it ends up being 1 million, because every time we end up with an extra 2 zeros. Okay? That's what we do with it. I would suggest that you have a calculator available, scientific at the very least, because that will let you do exponents. You can literally just plug it in time after time after time after time. That will get you the same answer. Number 9, we're rounding things. So I have 2, sorry, and 374 thousandths, rounding it to the hundredths place. The 7 knocks on the 4's door. The 4 says stay the same. So it's 2 and 37 hundredths. Number 10, 126 and 399 thousandths, rounding to the 1's place. The 6 knocks on the 3's door. The 3 says stay the same. 126. Remember, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go up, stay. Okay? Anything up here, you go up to the next number. Anything here, you stay the same. Number 11. 13 and 9,577 10,000ths, going to the 10ths place. The 9 knocks on the 5's door. The 5 says go up. The 9 becomes a 10, so that moves a 1 over to the 13, and it actually ends up being a 14. Number 12. 42 and 690 thousandths. The 9 knocks on the 0's door. The 0 says stay the same. So we have 42 and 69 hundredths. Number 13. 134 and 95 hundredths to the 10th place. The 9 knocks on the 5's door. The 5 says go up. The 9 becomes a 10. The 0 stays there. The 1 goes over, adds itself to the 4, so it becomes 135. All right, everybody with me on how we're doing this. Number 14. 2 and 486 10,000ths, and we are rounding to the 10th place. So the 0 knocks on the 4's door. The 4 says stay the same, and we are left with just a 2. I am going to move on to the next page, or rather, I ran out of room, so I need to go on to the next one. We did up to 14, so number 15. 63 and 6,352 10,000ths. We are rounding it to the hundredths place. The 3 knocks on the 5's door. The 5 says go up, so the 3 becomes a 4. 63 and 64 hundredths. Number 16. 98 and 9,499 10,000ths. We are rounding to the 10th place. The 9 knocks on the 4's door. The 4 says stay the same. So we end up with 98 and 9/10. Then we are down to simplifying our expressions using our basic rules of simplification. Number 17. 3 and 14 hundredths times 5 squared times 10. PEMDAS. Parentheses first. We don't have anything inside parentheses, so we're going to skip on to the next one. Then exponents. Oh, we do have an exponent. So 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So I have 3 and 14 hundredths times 25 times 10. Let me plug that in. And that gives me 785. Number 18. 1/3 times 3 and 14 hundredths times 3 squared times 5. Once again, we do not have any set that's in parentheses. We do have quite a few sets of parentheses. So we are going to go to our exponent. 3 times 3, which is 9. And then I'm going to build everything else up around it. Now I'm going to do my multiplication first. 3.14 times 9 times 5 divided by, because that's what this means. This means divided. This means the 3 ends up on the bottom. Divided by 3 equals 47 1/10. Number 19. 4/3 times 3 14/100 times 3 cubed. Again, we don't have anything inside parentheses, so we move on to exponents. For our exponents, we have 3 cubed, which is literally 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So we end up with 3 14/100. Okay, so we multiply the numbers that are on the top. All the numerators get multiplied, and then we divide by the denominator. So I'm going to go 4 times 3 14/100 times 27 divided by 3 equals 113 4/100. Next one, number 20. 4/3 times 3 14/100. You notice how they keep using 3 14/100? Do you know why they keep using 3 14/100? Because that's what they want you to use when you're using pi. That's the first 3 numbers for pi. 3.14. Now I know quite a bit further out on pi, 3.14159. But 3.14 is what they're going to have you use for pi. And we're going to be using pi a lot in the upcoming section. So it wants you to practice multiplying things by 3.14. 3 14/100 times 6 cubed. All right, so again, exponents, except this time I'm actually going to do it on there. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. We multiply the top numbers first, and then we divide by the bottom numbers. So 4 times 3 14/100 times 216 divided by 3 will give us 904 32/100. Number 21. 3 14/100 times 4 squared times 9. 4 squared, 4 times 4, literally 16 times 9 and 3 14/100. So I'm just going to multiply all that across. Gives me 452 16/100. And finally, number 22, 1/3 times 3 14/100 times 9 squared times 2/3. So first off, exponents. Sorry, this is getting all skewed. 9 squared becomes 81. All right, so let me get all of this rewritten. Once again, we are multiplying all the numbers on top. So 1 times 3 14/100 times 81 times 2 divided by 3 divided by 3. There are 2 3's to divide by, so we're dividing by 3 2 times. And that gives us 56 52/100 as our answer. Okay, so I multiplied all the top numbers and then I divided by each of the bottom numbers. So I divided by 3 and then I divided by 3. And that gives us our final answer. Okay, so that is the end of the Are You Ready section. I'm going to also put up the notes for the next chapter. So talk to you soon. Bye.